The aim of this scenario is to extract the price of a specific item from the existing shopping basket. So get map. In the general functions, we'll find get, which we can put first, and then map is right here. So after item price, we're putting item name like that. Then we can go to the results of the JSON module in the shopping basket to find our sports socks in item 5. Go back to our function, paste our item, and then that's when we close this map function. So now we can go back to our scenario and click run once. And let's look at our set multiple variables module results. Looks like we did everything correctly. We didn't get any errors. Our function worked as intended. So we have a task that says, from the same JSON, extract the color of the item basic t-shirt using the get and map functions. I guess this is just like to test our abilities, huh? What is going on, y'all? Xavier here, and today I'm back with another Make Academy lesson. If you're just joining us, I'm documenting my journey from complete beginner to running my own AI business. I'm following a 3-phase plan to get me there, but it all starts with mastering workflow automation. That's why we're speeding through these lessons. We are in the middle of the intermediate section within Make Academy at the moment. Last video, we looked at how to use the map function. Today, we're covering unit 3 in the get and map functions course, where we'll be combining the two functions together. If you want the full breakdown of my business plan in its current state, I will link that video up there, as well as in the description below. But without further ado, let's jump into today's lesson. Okay, so unit 3, the get and map functions. Let's get started. Unit introduction. Welcome to the 3rd unit of the course, using get and map functions. In the previous 2 units, you have learned how to use the get and map functions, and what you can achieve with each of them. In this unit, you will build on your knowledge and combine the get and map functions to explore the benefits of using them together and why they are such a powerful combination. Okay, I'm gonna click next. What is the function doing? Let's explore the get map and get map functions to see the comparison of what you can achieve with each. Okay, so let's start with get. Get extracts an item from the list. In this example, we are getting the 4th item in the array, which is a boot. Then we have map. Map provides a simple array. In this example, we are mapping all black items. We went over these 2 in the last video. Then we have get map. Get map combines the 2 functions. In this example, we want to get the price of the 2nd white item. Map provides a simple array with white items, and get extracts the 2nd item in that array. So they just kind of work in tandem with each other. I'm gonna click next. Let's look at the differences between the functions in more detail. Okay, so we have the get function. You would use the get function when you want to extract a specific value from any object. It can be a single collection, an array of simple objects, or an array of collections. This function is very similar to direct mapping, but in some cases, you don't know in advance which fields you will receive. For example, imagine you work in a bookstore and you have your book collection. Certain books have information on the number of pages, but not all of them. In case a specific book contains the field called number of pages, get is very useful because you can combine it with if to extract the number of pages. For example, if number of pages is equal to null, get the book number of pages. Null here means that either the variable does not exist or it has no value. I don't know if that exclamation point is like some kind of way to say not equal to. It sounds like you're trying to get the number of pages from books that don't have that number of pages field. Note that it's not very common to use get on its own. Most often get is combined with map, okay? Then we have our map function. You would use the map function when you have a complex array with a lot of fields, but you want to get a simpler array with only the data that interests you. For instance, you have a complex array with all the book data and you want to get the IDs of all the books that are not in stock. Remember that the output of the map function is always an array. So you would use get to extract specific values from any object but it's usually used in conjunction with the map function, and map is used when you have a complex array and you want to make a simpler array. Then we have get map. Usually you would combine get and map when you want to extract a specific item from the map function. As map is an array function, it always returns a new array, even if it contains only one record. Because of this, you'd often need to add the get function in order to extract the actual value you want to map to your target module. For instance, you would use map to get a list of book IDs that are not in stock. You get the relevant IDs, but in the form of an array. If you want to use this data in the next module, you will have to use the get function. Otherwise, when you try to map an array to a single field in the next module, this would result in the wrong output or in an error. Okay, so we combine these when we want to extract a specific item from the map function. So because this map function always returns an array, we need the get function to actually extract the value that we want in the next module, or else it'll create an error or it won't work properly. Okay, so now I'm gonna click next. Scenario use case example. Let's bring this to life and build a scenario. All right, so we got 7 slides on this page here. The aim of this scenario is to extract the price of a specific item, sports socks, from the existing shopping basket. Click create a new scenario and name it make intermediate 2-3. You will use the same JSON string from the previous 2 exercises. So you can either clone your parse JSON module or click here to copy the JSON and paste it into your JSON string field. You can also start from this blueprint. Click OK to save the module mapping, and then click run this module only. You should have 6 items in your output bundle. Click here to check what it should look like. All right, so last time I tried using the blueprint, it didn't really work, or I couldn't figure it out. So just gonna copy this JSON string that I can put in the module, and then I'm just gonna create a new scenario that's named to intermediate 2-3. Add our JSON, parse JSON, and the JSON string, pasting our JSON. Boom, just like that. Right click to run this module only. Cool, now we have our shopping basket with our 6 items. Great, I'll just rename this, and then we'll save our scenario. We can go next slide. Now you have your source module, and from this, you'll extract the price for the item sports socks. Add the set multiple variables module to your JSON module. Under variables, click add item. Under variable name, write price of sports socks. Remember that it's good practice to name your variables to reflect what they contain. As you want to extract the price of sports socks here, the variable name should reflect this too. All right, so we're adding set multiple variables module. Add another module, go into tools, set multiple variables. Now we can add an item and then name it price of sports socks. Boom, save it. Now we can click next slide. Under variable value, you need to write your function. Insert the get function, and inside it, insert the map function. It should look like this: get open, map open, and then the 2 closes. Notice that the map function needs to be embedded inside the get function. You could also use the first function here instead of get, but we want to show get since it's a more versatile function. So get map. In the general functions, we'll find get, which we can put first, and then after this first open parentheses, we're going to go into our, if we're working with arrays, functions, and then map is right here. And this is how it should look. I'm just going to save it and then click next slide. After map, insert the shopping basket items array. From this array, you want to get the item price. Hover over the item price element to see its raw name. In this case, it's the same, item underscore price in all lowercase. Type this into the field after the semicolon. After that, insert another semicolon. Remember that the raw name has to be written exactly the same as you see it under raw. Here, it's the same as the item label, but this might not always be the case. So let's go do that. Right after the map function, going to our shopping basket here, and where it says items, we just can click on that. After that, we're going to put a semicolon, and then we need item price. So if we go to items here, bring that menu down, item price, raw name here is item underscore price in all lowercase. And then after that, we just want to make sure we have another semicolon, and then I'm going to save it. Back to our course, we can click next slide. Next, you need to define the name of the item that you want to get the price for. Hover over the variable to see its raw name. Here, it should be item underscore name in all lowercase. Type this in the field after the semicolon. Then open the output of the JSON module and find the item you want to extract the information for. Type or copy and paste sports socks between the semicolon and parentheses. Then type semicolon 1 and close the get function. Click OK to save your module mapping. So yeah, let's add that to our scenario here. So after item price, we're putting item name in its raw name, like that. Add a semicolon. Then we can go to the results of the JSON module in the shopping basket to find our sports socks in item 5, to copy the name, go back to our function, and then after the semicolon following item name, we are going to paste our item, which is sports socks, and then that's when we close this map function with this closing parentheses. And then before we close the whole function, which is the get function, we're going to make sure there's a semicolon after the close of the map function. Then we're going to type 1, and then we can close the entire function. So it should look like this when you're done. Save it, and we can save our scenario. Now we can click next slide. The final function should look like the image here. Let's break it down. So we got pink and purple. The pink says, in this case, map always provides a simple list with one shopping basket item array. And then purple says, get looks at this array and extracts the first index item from it. That's why you have number 1 here. Because the map function returns an array, and there could be more elements with the given key value, it is necessary to apply the get function to get its first element. Note, if you want to get the price of a different item, you would substitute sports socks for a different value, e.g. jeans. Yeah, there's not even jeans in here. Right, so the only element to the get function in this function that we just created is the 1. And everything else just pertains to map. So if you look at it that way, it kind of breaks it apart, makes it a little bit more simple. But yeah, let's move on to the next slide and see what it says. Let's see what you have built and test the scenario. Click run once. Open the output of your set multiple variables module. You will see the price of sports socks is 9. So now we can go back to our scenario and click run once. And let's look at our set multiple variables module results. So you can see that we have an output that is one collection that says price of sports socks equals 9. So looks like we did everything correctly. We didn't get any errors. Our function worked as intended. So yeah, great job. Let's go back to our course. You have now used the get and map functions together. Well done. You can use this output data in your further modules. For example, to update your spreadsheets or send a message to your colleagues. All right, I'm gonna click next. Scenario exercise, optional. Would you like to try it out on your own? If the answer is yes, then we have a task for you. Don't worry, it's not complicated, and you can see the solution in a bit too. So we have a task that says, from the same JSON, extract the color of the item basic t-shirt using the get and map functions. You can add another variable to your set multiple variables module. Take some time to do it on your own, and once you're ready, click next to see the solution. All right, so I guess this is just like to test our abilities, huh? So I'll just go into the set multiple variables module, and I mean, we're pretty much doing the exact same thing. It says it wants us to extract the color of the basic t-shirt. So basically, if I'm not mistaken, we're just replacing this item price with item color, and then we're replacing sports socks with basic tee. So let's see if I'm correct. I'm just gonna add another item in this same module, we'll name it color of basic T, like that. And then in the variable value, we're pretty much copying and pasting this function. So I'm just going to copy the whole thing and then replace item price with item color, which the raw name is just item underscore color. And then I'm gonna go into the results of the parse JSON module to go get the name of the item that we're trying to get the color of, which is basic T. And then I'm just replacing sports socks with that basic T, just like that. And then I believe that's all we have to do. So I'm gonna save that, and then I'll just run once to see if I did it correctly. See if we got what we were looking for. So we got the price of the sports socks, which is 9, and we have the color of the basic t-shirt, which is white. And if we go to our results, we'll see that color of the basic t-shirt is white, and the price of the sports socks is 9. So looks like we did it correctly. Not too complicated, right? Not too scary of a function. So seems pretty straightforward, pretty legit. I'm gonna click next to see what they got. Color of basic t-shirt solution. Let's see how to solve this scenario together. So it says, first you need to add a new variable in your set multiple variables module. Click add item, and in the variable name field, write the name that describes your variable. We named it color of basic T, which is what I named it. You click next slide. The fastest way to write this function is to copy and paste the function from the first variable in the variable value field, and then change it according to your needs. That's what we did. Instead of item price, type item color. Instead of sports socks, type basic t-shirt. Click OK to save your module settings, and then run once to test your scenario. So we did all that correctly, that's awesome. You should get the output white. Notice that you will now get 2 variables in your bundle, one under the other. You can repeat this for as many items as you'd like. All right, cool, so I'm gonna click next. Why are get and map so useful? You might think that you can achieve the same results with iterators, aggregators, and filters, and you would be right. With the get and map functions, you can do pretty much the same things as with the iterators, aggregators, and filters. However, using the functions map and get can save you a lot of credits and time. You can map the functions directly in the module without using iterators and aggregators, which automatically means using less credits and making your scenario more efficient and optimized. Compare the credits number here in the top scenario, which uses an iterator and an array aggregator, and the second scenario, which uses only functions. Right, so comparing the credits here, we got 4 credits used in this top scenario, which is basically doing the same thing as the bottom one, but with an iterator and array aggregator. And then in the second scenario, we're only using 2 credits to do the exact same thing. So it seems like the use in these 2 functions are in the ability to save credits and make your scenario more efficient and optimized. So that means just making it so that when we're using or creating more complex scenarios, that we're not burning credits from all of these extra modules, and it's more compact and efficient, you know, like they said. So yeah, really good stuff in this unit. I believe this is the last page. Yeah. So it says, by now you should have an understanding of how to use the get and map functions together and why these functions are useful. So yeah, that's what this course was mainly about. These 2 functions here, get and map. We can definitely see the uses being very vast, or at least very useful in saving credits and making our scenarios look cleaner, less convoluted, or like, you know, just simpler for us and whoever we might be sharing these scenarios with, or vice versa. Looking at this course, I would say the biggest takeaways are probably these functions are better than using iterators and aggregators. the structure of the functions that we are putting in these JSON fields, or whatever fields that we're using functions for, are very specific in the sense of how they're laid out, right? So we have to make sure that how we type out the function and the way that we're ordering it is very deliberate and beneficial to the task that we're trying to accomplish with that function or with that scenario. And then finally, that the get and map function combined seems to be the best way to take advantage of the advantages that come with using these functions. But with that being said, I think this next unit is going to maybe disappoint in the use cases that it gives us. I could be wrong, but last time they tried to give us some use cases, they were like complicated or like repetitive, kind of just all over the place. So hopefully with this next unit, the use cases are a lot more helpful or useful maybe. And then I wanted to do some other videos looking at other scenarios and other use cases that they have, because I don't know, maybe like a couple months ago they gave us some document that showed like a whole bunch of templates for scenarios, and I know we're still kind of in the middle of learning all of this information, so like a lot of the scenarios in there probably aren't really up our alley of expertise, or maybe just we won't understand it. But I think even now in our current knowledge, that information would be pretty helpful or pretty interesting for you guys. So yeah, let me know in the comments if you guys want to see a video like that. But with that being said, yeah, next video we'll be covering Unit 4, which is use cases, and then maybe we'll just do the 10-question assessment at the end to wrap up this course. But that will be a video for another day. That's pretty much gonna wrap up today's video. If you made it this far, I just want to say I really appreciate it. You guys are real ones. We're powering through these lessons, and if you're watching to the end, you're really dedicated to learning this new information, because you're like me and you don't want to be left behind when this AI stuff just is completely on another level. So kudos to you for sticking with it with me. I think it's going to pay off for us. So, but if you really want to be involved in this community, or you just want to chat with like-minded people, I recently just created a Discord that I will link in the description below. But it's just mostly for people who want to talk about what we're learning, and maybe share their ideas, share where they are in their stages of making their own business and stuff like that. So if you're interested, link will be in the description below. But with that being said, if you found any of this stuff interesting or you'd like to see more, please feel free to drop a like, comment your thoughts, or hit that subscribe button. That's going to be it for me for today. I hope to see you in the next one. Take care.